So should you buy the newest chapter for Elder Scrolls Online Golden Road? Well, I think that's really going to depend on where you're coming from. So that's how I'm going to approach this. I think that there's a handful of major groups. There's going to be people that are potentially brand new to Elder Scrolls Online. They've heard about it a lot, whatever reasons they haven't checked it out before. So that's going to be one group. I think there's going to be those who have been continually playing ESO off and on for years, and they want to know, hey, is this chapter good? Should I buy it? I think there's going to be people that have quit and then are considering coming back. Maybe they've heard a lot about scribing. They heard this maybe it could be game changing and what have you. And then there's also going to be those who are mostly interested in the PvP aspect of ESO. So we'll run through all of those. So first off, if you're someone who generally enjoys all of the chapters for Elder Scrolls Online, really likes the story, loves going through all the dells, public dungeons, all the stuff there is to do. Maybe you're particularly into one of the mini games there are within Elder Scrolls, whether that's Tales of Tribute or perhaps you enjoy excavation and that kind of stuff, describing, what have you. The main thing I would say, the most direct answer for you is listen to your heart. You're going to have all of those things in this new chapter, and I think it's going to fulfill that. It's going to scratch that itch for you. It's going to be everything that you think and kind of hope it would be. So it's going to be fairly straightforward. The other thing is, if you're brand new to ESO, if you're brand new to the whole experience, there's a lot here. There's definitely $60 worth of content here. If you buy the newest chapter, you get all of the previous chapters for $60, and there's a ton of content there for you. They're constantly be pushing you to upgrade, to pay for ESO Plus, which you don't actually need. It's really nice to have, but it's really you're paying for bag space. So they created a problem by giving you too much stuff, and then they sell you the solution by offering you more bag space and more bank space. But as far as like $60, there's more than $60 worth of content. The more you play ESO, the more the bugs become an issue, the more you realize that they are an issue and that they're in the game. But at first, that's not going to really bother you. So just kind of realize that. And the more you play ESO as well, the better you get. You eventually get to this point where you can kill everything overland very easily. And you can kind of get through 99% of the content in the game very easily. And so there's like this pyramid that you're walking up. The better you get at the game, the less there is on top for you to actually do that is enjoyable. Unless you are fine with walking through a quest, even though it's supposed to be difficult and, world shaping and game changing and whatever, and you can like kill everything in like a couple of hits, if you have like a good setup or what have you. So just realize that that is an issue with ESO. The more you play, the less enjoyable it can tend to get, as far as like doing the difficult content. But again, there are a ton of mini games that are accessible. There's Tales of Tribute, which is a card game inside of the game. There are a lot of other things. There's the endless archive and what have you that will keep you entertained. If you are somebody who has quit, maybe you were tired of the bugs, maybe you didn't like all the various changes that ZOS was making, any number of other reasons, and you're considering coming back and you've heard a lot about scribing. The thing about scribing is that, if you've heard a lot about it and you followed it, you started off with your expectations maybe way up here. And then kind of as time goes along, or maybe then you realize, what, they can only do so much. It is an MMO. Scribing, the spell crafting system isn't going to be what it is in, the single player games. Your expectations gradually went down. Then you saw it came out and maybe your expectations went down a little bit more. So if you're someone like me, in other words, who follows all this stuff, like your expectations for scribing are fairly reasonable. And that's probably where they should be. If you've just seen the hype and you haven't actually followed everything really intently, I think that your expectations might be way up here. And I think in that case, you're going to be very disappointing if you think scribing is going to be the one thing that's going to be a game changer for everybody. What scribing is going to do, it's going to provide some really interesting options for PvP. It's going to provide some really interesting options for solo, duo, and kind of more survival focused things. If you're a tank or a healer in group content, it's going to be fairly necessary. Not necessary, but like you're really going to want it. And people are going to be like, hey, do you have this skill? Oh, you should be using this skill. And if you don't have it, you're probably going to get tired. I say necessary because you're probably going to get tired of hearing that. And with that, there's also going to be a considerable amount of grind. So you might compare the new scribing system to basically any of the other mini games that we had, where you're looking up and trying to gather items for the mythics. There's going to be a ton of grind involved with the scribing system. I think they really intended it to be a huge time sink for people, as well as gold sink, so that you have to go and really farm up all of these things. So that's going to be another aspect of it. But if you're like your standard overland player running around doing DPS and stuff like that, I mean, there's some fun things that are different. There's some of the abilities look really cool, and some of them kind of look stupid. But, there's still quite a few things that are lacking. So if you're a warden and you've been, wanting to reskin your bear, it's not there. If you're a sorcerer who wants to be able to summon more and different kinds of Daedra, it's not there. So scribing is really not going to be doing that much as far as DPS is concerned. There will be some changes. There are some things that are interesting, but it's not like game changing and broken or anything like that. So except for in PvP, where there's some stuff that I'm pretty sure is not going to be balanced and is going to be entirely broken. So that kind of gets to my last group of people, the PvPers. I think there's a lot here for you. I think there's group buffs that you can now get. So if you're in a ball group, there's a ton of stuff you can do if you're running around with just one other person. So, there's going to be plenty of that there. As far as like by the numbers, as far as what you're getting, I mean, again, you're getting all the normal things. You're getting like 6 new delves. You're getting a couple new public dungeons. You're getting a new trial. The new trial, Lucent Citadel, is great. It's really good. It's very much more on par to that Rockgrove or Dreadcell Reef as far as how fun it is. I think it is going to be a little bit easier than those, a little bit more accessible. I think and I hope for the average group it's going to still be very difficult on veteran, but I don't think it's going to be on par with something like Dreadcell Reef, which I think was a bit too hard. A lot of people still struggle to get through the first boss when you're first going in there. I hope and I think that it's not going to at least be that difficult, and at least you'll be stuck on the second or third boss and not the first boss. So just realize that, as far as being able to gather things, Elder Scrolls has added quite a bit of stuff where you can just go and gather overland and unlock various rewards. They have added those into the game so that, you're not just having to buy everything from the Crown Store. With that being said, the Crown Store and the pushing of the monetization in Elder Scrolls has never been higher. There is so much stuff that it's just purchase. Adding the new skills, you can now reflavor and make your skills look a little bit different. And they have straight said that, hey, yeah, we're going to be selling things that will make your skills look different, just like they're selling things that will make your harvesting animation look different. So microtransactions are just coming more and more into ESO. And I think it's really like a pay to play game that has the monetization of a free to play. So they're really double dipping in that aspect. And I think for a lot of people, that's a huge turnoff. I know certainly if I was starting ESO today, looking at the monetization system, I probably wouldn't pick it up because I don't like playing games like that. I'm sunk cost fallacy, right? I've been playing for a long time. I kind of ignore that stuff. I do my own thing, so it bothers me less. But if I was getting into a game and I see this level of monetization, because I've looked at some other games and I'm just like, yeah, I don't like the monetization. So just realize that if that stuff really turns you off, yeah, it's extremely heavy-handed in Elder Scrolls. So it's there. The other thing is for, longtime players, and it's the bugs. Elder Scrolls has never been more buggy than it is now. There's been more and more login issues, people getting kicked, having to wait 5 minutes in a trial because people are constantly getting kicked. Which stuff like this, by the way, if you're like a solo player or if you're new to the game, it's not going to bother you at all. But once you've been playing for a while, it's going to get really annoying. Anyways, I hope this was helpful for everybody thinking about buying, like, hey, should I get this? Should I pick this up? Should I pass? If you have specific questions that you'd like to ask, feel free to drop them in the comments below. Be more than happy to answer for you if there's any kind of aspect that you're interested in that maybe I miss or didn't go over. But anyways, that's it for today. Appreciate everybody watching. We'll catch you in the next one.